Good afternoon. So I've been looking at some of the comments on last night's video, and they're really good. If you get a chance to look at the comments from the video from last night, what was it titled? Do not be afraid, what you are about to hear. And it is true. You shouldn't be afraid about what you're about to hear. And there's so many comments that came pouring through. Hello. I can't see the things. I've took my glasses off. Hello, Applebrooks, honey. Hello, everyone. Yeah. It is the truth. There's a lot of truth to it. A lot of people are going through very difficult moments in their life. And to have the strength within to admit, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm going through it. Well, that takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. And it shows that you're vulnerable enough to go through it and let other people know what you're going through, because we draw strength from one another. We really do, because when you can relate to what's happening and what's going on in your life, and others can relate to it too, it just goes to show that we're all connected, and life happens to everyone, but there are some who are a little bit rough and tough, and they don't want to hear none of that mushy stuff, because to them they may view it as a weakness. I'm sorry, that takes great courage and great strength for someone to come forward and admit, I'm having a hard time. That takes a lot of courage, a lot more courage than for the individuals who, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to hear about it, it's not a, so be it. So be it. There's a lot of us who are connected with our inner being. We're true to ourselves. We acknowledge who we are on the inside, and we acknowledge each other, and we realize that we're not that different at all. We're not. I mean, some people have different thought processes that they adhere to. They have different way of doing things in life. They do. And just because you may not agree with what I say or what other people say, doesn't mean that your way is the only way either. It doesn't. It just means that, you're just not as connected, more or less, to emotions that other people may likely be connected to. Doesn't mean that you're weak if you're connected to your emotions and your feelings, and you have this sixth sense. You can feel the energy in the world from the spiritual realm. You can feel the emotions of people, the feelings of people, because a lot of us can, because we are so intricately connected with this electrical world that we live in. Everything is energy, and our energy is most definitely going to be felt in the spiritual realm. It is. And it's okay. It really does feel good to be connected. I know at times the energy that we feel that is out there can be quite draining, not just, I'm looking up there to see if I see Rosie, not just for ourselves, but as a collective, as a whole, because we collectively feel it. We do. We can't say that we don't. When you feel that heaviness that's out there, you can't pinpoint it. You know that it's out there. It's being sent up from somewhere, whether it be people, whether it be the earth, whether it be nature, whether it be the animals. It's being sent up. And it's circulating. You can feel it in the air. It's like when you walk into a room and there's a very negative feeling, something gloomy. You can feel it. You can feel the energy of it. You can also feel the energy of a person who walks in the room and the room just lights up. So you can feel it. Energy is and can be felt. It's out there. And I would encourage you, if you have been in denial, and a lot of us at times have been in denial throughout our lives on certain things, and because you don't want to see the truth, especially when it's right there in your face. You'd rather not see it. You'd rather keep your spiritual hand in front of your face because you don't want to deal with it. But there comes a point in your life where you're going to take down that spiritual hand, and you're going to go like that. You're going to look right at it, and you're going to see it. You're going to be able to look in that mirror and look at the person looking back at you in that mirror, and you're going to realize what's out there, that truth that is out there, that truth that you have been avoiding for a very, very, very long time, because you You just didn't have the mind space to deal with it. You didn't want to deal with it, and takes a lot of energy to deal with the truth, especially when the truth is a not so nice truth. I mean, it's like when you look around at the world, at the grand scheme of things, the whole entire world as a whole. There's a lot of truth out there that we may not like to look at. A lot of us don't want to look at it. We know it's there. We acknowledge it's there, but it's hard to focus on. And there's some truth that you can do something about. You can make a change in some things, but it's like that saying, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can change, and give me the courage to change the things that I can, accept the things that I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. We got to have the wisdom to know the difference between the things that we can change and the things that we can't, because there are definitely things in this world that we physically, personally cannot change. Even if all of us were together, there's some things that we cannot change. They're way beyond our control. But when we work on things on an individual level, the things that we know we can do, the individual level, it adds up, and we're all connected that way because we're all doing it. And then it becomes one great big change. It's like a big chain of event, a domino effect, and it does bring a lot of change because it just keeps spreading and spreading and spreading. In those instances, you also change the truth. The truth is hard to accept. It is, especially when it's staring you right in the face, and when you refuse to look at it, when you have an excuse for the truth that's staring at you because it might be a very unpleasant truth. You might see that truth, that if you acknowledge it, it is a weakness within you, well, then that's fine for you. But a lot of us like to acknowledge it. We like to acknowledge, it's there, and I'm going to need a lot more strength. I'm going to need a lot more courage to get through this and deal with it. We acknowledge it. We do. I acknowledge it. And change don't happen overnight unless it's actually a miracle that occurs. Change happens over time, you all. So just because something don't get better overnight doesn't mean that it's not going to get better over time, because it does. It's like wounds. Wounds heal over time as long as you tend to them. But if you leave a big gaping wound, you get cut and you just let the blood just keep pouring out, or you just leave it open, and then it's going to settle after time. It's going to get infected. It's going to get gangrene, and then you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble because that poison is going to spread all throughout, and then you're going to lose a member of your body. You really are. You don't want that to happen. You want to tend to those truths that wound you. Tend to them, deal with them, treat them, nurture them, send them on their way. Yeah, you don't want them to continually keep getting infected, and it might take a while. It really might, but the first step is acknowledging that there's something out there that you're come face to face with, and you knew it was out there, but you didn't want to acknowledge it, didn't want to do nothing about it. Do what you can, and if you need more strength, pray and meditate. Try not to dwell on it too much, even though it may send you into a downward spiral. Just acknowledging it, you all, it really quite possibly may, and does at times. It does. It takes a lot of energy from you, and there's nothing wrong with it. Life is full of ups and downs. It is. It's not just one smooth ride. I do not want a smooth ride all throughout my life, because if times were bad and then times were good, how would I be able to, appreciate the times that weren't bad if I didn't have those times that were bad and I had a whole lot of times that were good? I'd be very thankful for the good that did occur in my life. And you know that yourself. You have good days and you have bad days. You have good memories and you have bad memories, and we just can't dwell on them. But the truth is hard for some people to acknowledge, and even ourselves when we're face to face with it. And sometimes you can work around that truth. You can. There's ways you can work around it. You can acknowledge it and work it out to the best of your ability. Sometimes you have to do that. Work with how's it going to work for you, really. It doesn't have to affect you in the way that it probably did when you first saw it. It doesn't. You can move beyond the shock of it. You can, the trauma, the shock. And I would encourage you to move beyond it in whatever way you can, as long as it's a healthy way, not a bad way. You don't want to do that. We still got a lot of life left here on this earth, a lot of life that we can enjoy, a lot of time that we can do good things in. We do a whole lot. but to totally ignore it. And don't look down on people who want to be a feeling person, because, you know, we have different types of personalities on this earth. You know we do. If you've ever took the Brig, whatever personality test, you have the people who are feeling, people who are intuitive, people who are rational, and people who are introverts, people who are extroverts. We have all types of personalities, and they're not all the same. They're not. But there's certain groups of personalities that do think alike. So I am going to go. I don't even know what I said, but the truth, it's hard to face it. It is. It's hard for some people to acknowledge it, because they will be in denial. It doesn't matter if it's like, it could be stuck on their face, and they will tell you that there's nothing there. They will sit and tell you that there's nothing there, even though it's like right there. They're not going to admit that there's anything wrong. They're not going to admit that it causes them discomfort, or they need to fix it. They need to do something about it. No, they're not. They're not going to admit it, but there are those of us who will. And because we want to grow on the inside, we want to get rid of anything that hinders us, that's causing blockages within our body. We want to work through it so we have some free flow of our energy. We really do. So I am going to go. I've been working in the basement, just a tad bit, straighten up stuff, and then I walked to the mailbox and came up. I think I'm going to set my daughter's car. It's nice and warm, and it was a little too warm. So I am going to go, you all. Don't give up, and work on the things that you can, okay? The things you can make a change, the things that you can change, start working toward them. And the things that you can't, well, have the wisdom to know the difference between the two, okay? The goal is you want to have a good outcome. You want to be able to be the best you can be. You want to be as strong as you can on the inside. You really do. Because we've got a big bumpy road ahead. We do. I'm not going to say that we don't, and you know we don't. Got a smooth road. It's going to be very, very bumpy. It's going to get more and more difficult. When I ran into Salem today, of course, there was like a line of tornado, some kind of weather line that went through, and there was lots of branches broke off the trees. And I went into the Goodwill, and they were talking about the town. A lot of people in the town just got their electricity back on at 5-something in the morning. It'd been out for 2 days. And they were talking about the people who needed machines to breathe and oxygen and stuff. What would they do? So things are happening. They are happening, and they'll continue to happen. The weather will continue to get erratic. Just a lot of change. And the Goodwill, it said only cash because their system was down, but they were able to use their cash register. The other places, the big chains and stuff, well, they had, you could use credit if you wanted, but not the Goodwill. So I am going to go, you all. The truth is hard for some to accept, even though it may be stuck to their face, and even though they don't want to acknowledge that they might need to admit it in order to move beyond, to grow on the inside spiritually. But they may not want to grow. They may like who they are and how they are. They may feel they don't need to grow. Everybody else needs to grow up but them. They may feel like that. That's okay. And I was sitting there thinking about that. It's like people's bark is worse than their bite. And it is true. But if you think about that, some people who put on a big tough show, they're rough and tough. I was sitting there thinking, when it comes right down to it, they may be the very ones who crumble and tremble when adversity, when faced truly with it, when they're face to face with something like that. And the people who some look at as kind of passive and like kind of wimpy, they very well may be the ones, when they're faced with that adversity face to face, they're the ones who are able to stand up to it spiritually and not cower down. They're the ones. So it's all how you look at life. It's all how you view life, you all. Don't look down on nobody else thinking you're all this and that, just because you talk a tough talk, because when it comes right down to it, no one knows how they're going to react when they're face to face with their worst nightmare, more or less. Their greatest fear, you don't know. You'll find out what you're made of when you're face to face with your worst nightmare and your greatest fear. You'll see what you're made of. You really will. So I'm going to go. And with that being said, let me get up, you all. I got to get up out of this car. With that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and keep going. Don't ever give up, no matter what, you all. And I would encourage you to check out the other videos. I made a new playlist, and it only has 5 videos in it, but it's the most type of recent videos I've been doing. And the playlist is titled Important. Just speaking from my heart, my spirit, the Holy Spirit within me. My greatest attribute that I truly do have within me is encouragement. It is. I know it is. It's my greatest strength. And you may be a person like that too. And we need to be encouraged more now than ever. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Love you.